Welcome back, Summoners, to another ProGuides mid-patch analysis video. My name is Christoph, and today I'm going to be going over all the strongest champions using fresh statistics to give you guys the most accurate tier lists available. But before we start, we'd like to make a small announcement. We'd like to welcome our latest member of the ProGuides League of Legends team, Kellen. Some of you may know him as Exile. We already have a bunch of content planned together for the upcoming weeks, and you'll start to see a lot more of his videos on this channel, so make sure to hit the subscribe button if you want to see those. We encourage all our viewers to comment on our tier lists and champion placements and say if you agree or disagree with us on certain champions. A lot has changed since the beginning of patch 9.8, and there's a lot to cover, so let's get right into it. The top lane tier list for our mid-patch analysis video sees a few changes compared to the one we had at the start of the patch. Although there were a ton of balance changes made to top laners in patch 9.8, it seems that our analysts were correct when they said that the top lane meta hasn't shifted at all. Starting from the top, we have the same 6 champions as before: Kayle, Riven, Jax, Urgot, Hecarim, and Vladimir. Kayle received some heavy nerfs in the past few patches, but it appears that the changes were not heavy enough to knock her out of her S-tier status. She's still the late-game monster that everyone fears, and her level 16 power spike makes her a highly contested pick. If you're struggling to beat Kayle in lane, then our analysts recommend you pick up Nasus, Tryndamere, or Jax. Like we said in our last video, these 3 champions have very good win rates against her and will give you the edge you need to beat her. Next up, we have Vladimir. If you haven't been paying attention to the pro scene and missed out on the LCS finals, well then you haven't seen just how strong this champion currently is. TSM's top laner Broken Blade recently played Vladimir during some intense games against TL and showed us just how broken Vladimir is. His ability to one-shot any squishy members on the team while being untargetable is the #1 reason why he's so strong right now. Vlad is by far the most underrated pick in the game for patch 9.8, and we highly recommend you pick him up. If you struggle to beat Vladimir in the top lane, then our analysts recommend you ban him until he eventually just gets nerfed. In our A tier, we welcome 2 new members, Nasus and Neeko. Nasus has been sleeper OP in the top lane due to some recent buffs combined with a heavy late-game scaling meta. He's one of the easiest champions to play in the top lane, almost pushing the brink to S tier, so try him out in your next few normal games. As for Neeko, a new build has been popping up all around the world, where you rush Hextech GLP with Glacial Augment. If you want to see a more detailed guide on this, then make sure to check out our OP Korean Challenger builds video. And finally, in our B tier, you may have noticed that Ornn and Dr. Mundo are hanging pretty low in our tier list despite the recent buffs to their kit. It turns out that these buffs just weren't enough to make an impact on their stance in the meta, and they'll remain as a borderline B to A tier pick for this patch. For patch 9.8, our analysts recommend you pick up Renekton in the top lane. Renekton recently received some big buffs on his Q healing and base stats, which are making him a borderline S tier champion. He's also very easy to play and has a solid stance in the meta, so make sure to give him a try. Alright, let's move on to the jungle. The jungle tier list sees a lot of changes, and that's due to the tank meta not returning like our analysts predicted. Champions such as Sejuani and Nunu are only A tier picks despite massive Cinderhulk buffs. Still, they remain as solid picks for this patch, and in our S tier we have Rek'Sai, J4, Kindred, Kha'Zix, and 2 new members, Hecarim and Master Yi. Master Yi's win rate has slowly been increasing since the start of the patch due to the recent Wits End rework combined with the buffs to his ultimate. He's sitting at the 2nd highest win rate in the jungle right now and is a great pickup for all players under Diamond 4. Once you go above that rank, we recommend you pick up a different champion that can perform better in higher elos like Rek'Sai. If you're new to the jungle or you want to pick up jungle this patch, then we recommend you try out Master Yi. Also, we have a wonderful jungle course on ProGuides featuring some of the best junglers in the world, including Nightblue. He'll teach you everything you need to know about this role and it will help you hit Diamond this season. Despite the massive Kayn buffs at the start of the patch, it seems that Kayn is still struggling to make the push to S tier. He's sitting comfortably in our A tier for now, but we'll have to wait if his win rate increases during next patch to be sure. Although the buffs to his Shadow Assassin were huge, most players are still opting to go the red Kayn route due to the utility and tankiness it provides. Amumu received some pretty big buffs at the start of the patch, and he'll be moving up to our B tier junglers for patch 9.8. He's definitely stronger in ranks under Gold, but much like Master Yi, gets weaker the higher you move up. Amumu is also a great champion to learn if you're new to the jungle. He'll cover most of the basic fundamentals you'll need to learn. For patch 9.8, our analysts recommend you pick up Evelynn in the jungle. Although she isn't picked very often in competitive matches, she's still an insanely OP pick for solo queue. Without voice comms, it's almost impossible to track where an Evelynn is after 6. Notable players such as Sunset have been dominating the solo queue ladder with above 80% win rate in High Diamond. Make sure to try her out, but try not to make your opponents rage quit. Getting camped by an Evelynn is one of the most tilting experiences in the game. The mid lane tier list for our mid-patch analysis video remains very similar to the one we had previously. Our analysts were spot on for predicting the upcoming meta, except for one champion. In our S tier, we have Zed, Ahri, Vlad, Talon, Morgana, and Zoe. Even though Zed was nerfed at the start of patch 9.8, he still remains as an S tier pick and is dominating the mid lane meta. Morgana has been a sleeper OP pick in the mid lane since her rework. Honestly, our analysts were still curious as to why her play rate is so low. Playing Morgana with Hextech GLP and Glacial Augment is one of the most broken builds in the mid lane right now and is confirmed to get nerfed next patch. If you want some free LP while playing mid, then Morgana is the champion for you. Cassiopeia was buffed at the start of patch 9.8, but it clearly wasn't enough to make an impact on her stance in the meta. She's still a solid pick for patch 9.8, but is nowhere close to S tier and will sit comfortably in our A tier for now. Just be careful if you decide to try her out. She's very difficult to play, so you'll need lots of practice. For patch 9.8, our analysts recommend you pick up Zoe in the mid lane. Zoe's been making a big comeback lately, and she's been played by a ton of pro players all around the world. Even Faker has been spamming her in solo queue recently, and she's a very good pick in competitive play. However, much like Cassiopeia, you'll need some practice with her beforehand, so test her out in normals before you jump into ranked. The ADC tier list remains unchanged from the previous one we had at the start of the patch. Our analysts were spot on again, and every pick remains the same. Starting from the top, we have Vayne all by herself in the S+ tier again. She's clearly stronger than all the other ADCs in the meta right now. Next up in our S tier, we have Sivir, Kai'Sa, Lucian, Jinx, and Caitlyn. These 5 ADCs are solid pickups for the bottom lane right now, and you should learn a handful of these if you want to climb more efficiently. Jhin received a buff at the start of patch 9.8, and those changes have been really good on him. A lot of high elo Jhin mains have been doing a weird build where they purchase double or even triple infinity edges. Although you lose out on the attack speed and movement speed, your burst from your abilities and auto attacks make up for it pretty well. I'm not sure this is a recommended build for everybody, but if you want to give it a try in your normal games, go ahead. Kai'Sa received an indirect buff this patch due to Stormrazor becoming even stronger. Although the main goal of buffing Stormrazor was to increase diversity in the item, it appears that Kai'Sa is still the only champion who builds this and will remain that way for quite some time. For patch 9.8, our analysts recommend you pick up Draven in the bottom lane. There is a bug in the game right now where you can cash in your stacks from your passive by killing an Illaoi spirit. This bug is actually insane and will grant you hundreds of gold by just hitting a stick figure. Combine that with Klepto and you'll have a massive gold lead by the end of your laning phase without ever having to kill your opponents. So go pick up a duo partner and try this combo out. On to support. The support tier list sees a few changes compared to the one we had at the start of the patch. In our S tier, we have Morgana, Nami, Sona, Soraka, Thresh, and a new member, Nautilus. Nautilus has been appearing all over the world in every role except ADC this patch. He's taken solo queue by storm and is one of the strongest picks for support right now. He's also fairly easy to play, and you can pick him up in no time. Next, we have our classic Sona Taric duo lane that we love playing against. Am I right? Yes, this still works, and seems that there are no changes to be made on the PBE currently to nerf this. It'll be a worthwhile investment to abuse this combo while it still lasts. I also want to mention that we have a detailed guide on this duo lane in our 9.8 pick or ban video, so make sure to check that out if you want to learn more. For patch 9.8, our analysts recommend you pick up Illaoi in the bottom lane. Like we mentioned before, her synergy with the Draven bug right now is just out of this world, and you can get a lot of free wins. She's also an easy support to play since all you have to do is land your W test of spirit and then face roll your keyboard. Try it out with a duo partner and let us know how that goes. That's it for our mid-patch analysis video for 9.8. If you enjoyed watching this video, then please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to our channel to be notified for the next video. We are uploading very frequently now, and we have a lot of great tips for you guys to get better at League of Legends. If you want to get some more detailed guides on climbing the ranks this season, then please check out ProGuides.com, where we offer tons of guides from your favorite pro players, and we offer 24/7 coaching on the platform. Thank you guys so much for watching, good luck in your next games, and we'll see you on the Rift.